it's actually really sad, like why she isn't there, but it's like completely understandable. And it's because of all the bullshit with Harry Potter at the moment. Because it's basically all of this Harry Potter stuff and the arguments going on with that, and then you've got obviously like the transphobia that's all going with it, and then like all the articles where you've got Brianna that was murdered earlier on in the week, and the fact that like the Daily Mail dead named her. Then you got all the other newspapers that weren't even mentioning that she was trans. It's basically it's all because of that. Like Chrissy isn't coming, isn't there in my chat. Because it's just the constant bombardment of adverts and stuff for it. It's like you get it. It's there. Like when you come on to Twitch, it's there immediately. First thing you see is like Harry Potter, or not Harry Potter, but Hogwarts Legacy. And then like you go on Facebook or YouTube or anything. It's just Hogwash Legacy, Hogwash Legacy, Hogwash Legacy. It's everywhere. And it's like I've actually been considering myself not going onto social media because of it, because I'm fed up with seeing it everywhere. And it's like I don't want to see it. I'm not running adverts for it. I've turned my adverts off. Unfortunately, I can't do anything about pre-rolls, and I apologise about that, because Twitch doesn't give us the choice of. Hang on, dialogue. Right. Anyway, as I was saying, it's everywhere at the moment, and the argument is everywhere at the moment. And it's like, my view on it, if you want to play it, play it. But don't go calling yourself a trans ally at the same time. There is no varying degree of how ally you are. If you support something that is essentially supporting anti-trans stuff, then you're not supporting, trans people. If you have a trans friend that says, oh, it's okay, yeah, go ahead and stream it and everything like that. I'm sorry, but that individual trans person does not represent the entire trans community. Pretty much every single trans person I spoke to has the same opinion as I do. And it is damaging us. Exactly. If you are playing it, you are proving you are not a trans ally. Now, my whole thing with it is when the bitch is dead, go nuts. When she is not able to use it as some form of validation for her toxic and harmful opinions, and she's not able to use it to fund her campaign of hate. Because yes, she is I think she's actually a billionaire now, come to think of it. But yeah, she's an incredibly wealthy person. But she's even stated on her social media that she uses the proceeds of her royalties to fund her hate campaign. She's admitted that. So, that money is directly funding a hate campaign. But once she's dead, she's not tweeting. She's not tweeting anymore. She's not on Facebook anymore. She's not able to meet up with, right wingers and like other, like, when I say right wingers, I don't mean like your lights Tories, because you do come across the odd Tories that are all right. It's just unfortunately they vote Tory. And then you got your absolute right wingers that are like white supremacists and things like that. She actually meets up with them. You can find all this information out there. She actually meets up with some very evil people. But when she's dead, she can't do that. So go nuts. When she's dead, go buy all the Harry Potter you want. I don't care. I will myself, because believe it or not, I actually like some of the Wizarding World, and I do recognise some of the isms that are in it, such as the what's it called, anti-Semitism and the like. I do recognise that in there, and I see it in there. But some of the stories in that I do actually like. I like what's he called? H.P. Lovecraft's works. If he was alive, he could go fuck himself. I would not be buying any of his works. But he's been dead for a long time. He was a racist piece of shit. Absolutely racist. He was a horrible, horrible person. but he's dead, so fuck him. uh, yeah, that's kind of that's kind of how I feel. Like, you know, you are funding the hatred. Now, of course, if J.K. Rowling sets up kind of some kind of trust fund that basically still takes royalties from the Harry Potter merchandise to fund her hate campaign, even after she's dead, then that's different. And no, it's like my whole thing of it is that know by by streaming it especially, you are validating her opinion. It's not a matter of where the funding from it. It's the fact that you are, to me, you are saying, I don't care about you. I don't care about you. I don't care about your rights. I don't care about what you have to go through. I like this thing. Now, I've got many boycotts on. Like, I do not buy any, no, I don't knowingly buy anything that is off of the Nestle umbrella. If I find out that a product I have bought is from Nestle, I won't buy that product again. And my reasons for that are because of what Nestle do to people in Africa regarding Cowingate. Now, there's other things as well. I'm going to put this on my actual full thing because I'm having a rant. It's my. I'm going to have to do that manually because here's my Steam Deck. Stream Deck has kind of gone there. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I'm going to have to reset my Stream Deck software. But yeah, there's the whole argument of capitalism is evil and it doesn't matter what you do, someone suffers as a result of capitalism. Yes, that's true. That's true. But there is there's certain things where we can make a difference to groups of people there. Unfortunately, the whole exploitation of people in poorer countries, that's something which we cannot avoid. That's unavoidable because of the whole way that politics works, the entire system works. It's like I even say it about like energy stuff, about like green energy and the whole thing of how places and companies become carbon neutral. A lot of it is actually bullshit. The whole carbon neutral. And the reason I know this is because years ago, back when like they really started pushing the idea of green energy and wind turbines and so on, I had I think it was Eon come and knock on my door, and they're saying about like we can make you carbon neutral. I was like, oh yeah, how does that work? He's like, well, we're building all these wind farms, blah 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 blah. He's like, oh, that's good. So wind farms can can do my gas boiler and my gas cooker, can they? It's like, what do you mean? I said, well, my gas boiler and my gas cooker burn methane, which gives off carbon emissions. So obviously, I will still have a carbon footprint. And they said, well, what we do is we actually offset it. I was like, oh, so in other words, what you do is you actually blame my carbon emissions on someone else. And they just looked at me like, I said, no, that's what you're telling me. That's what offsetting is. Now, this is exactly what like factories and even governments do. It's like, rather than like, say like a coffee cup, this is going to have a carbon footprint when you produce this. That's going to happen. It's unavoidable. This will have a carbon footprint. Now, what the company that makes these and was making these, and say the UK would do, is go, right, we're going to make ourselves carbon neutral. We're going to bring the UK's carbon footprint down. But rather than actually making the company carbon neutral and finding some way of producing this that is produces less carbon, what they do is they go, hey, China, can you make these things for us? And then we'll import them. And then like the UK can turn and go, we're not producing carbon emissions. They offset it. It's bullshit. And that's an evil within capitalism that at the moment we can't do anything about. However, there are some things within capitalism that we can do something about. And supporting trans rights and standing up against anti-Semitism is one of those things. We can choose to say no to a game. We can choose to say no to that. And when we say no to a game like Hogwarts Legacy, We are saying no to Nazis, like actual neo-Nazis, running a production company, and then all that crap that they were putting into there actually still being in the game on release. We're saying no to the anti-Semitism that is in that game. We're saying no to the transphobia that the likes of J.K. Rowling is pushing. We're saying no to those things when we say no to the game. So when I'm there, I'm following streamers because they're streaming that game. It's not because I'm being petty. It's not because I'm an arsehole that feels like, you're playing a game I don't like. No, I don't give a shit about what the game is. Yeah, it's not a matter of me not liking the game. It's a matter of what it stands for. It's the flag that that game represents. I will not support that game at all because of that, and I won't support a streamer that is doing that, because that streamer to me is no longer a safe space for me. That streamer is basically saying to me, "Fuck you and your trans rights," and why should I support them? Why should I support them for that? So no, and I have been unfollowing streamers for that. I don't care if anyone thinks that's petty, because yeah, fuck them. This is what I think of J.K. Rowling. She can get on a fucking broomstick and fuck off. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, that's what I think of that. Anyway, no, I agree. I agree with not harassing people over it, because that only harms us. I will not, I do not condone people going into someone's stream and then bullying them because they're doing that. Because you'll find, you'll find that there are a lot of people out there that don't understand the controversy behind the Harry Potter merchandise and the whole IP of the Wizarding World. There are people that don't understand and don't know. One example of that are children. So this is why as well that I have this whole opinion as well of like, I'm not going to come down on you like a ton of bricks if you have bought the game and you play the game, because it's like, I do understand that it's kind of difficult to explain those sort of things to a child. Some children will get it, most won't. But like, again, most people aren't going to know the thing about it, because the reality is a lot of people don't give a shit about anti-Semitism. A lot of people don't give a shit about trans rights. And unfortunately, that's a fact. Most people just don't care. I don't mean they don't care as in like, they will cause harm with it. I mean, they don't care because it's like, same as I don't care about specific diets. It's not part of my life. So it's like, I'm not aware of those things because I'm not going out of my way to look into it. I'm not going out of my way to learn about it. So like, yeah, that's the attitude of the majority of people. But like I said, it's not those people that I have a problem with. The problem I have are those who basically turn around and say, I am a trans ally. They wave a trans flag around and even go to rallies and everything like that, and will post things up saying trans rights and all that, and then go against what the trans community are asking of them as an ally. Waving a flag is not being an ally. Wearing a wristband is not being an ally. Now, the sort of shit that I have to put up with daily, I go onto my social media and I will see hate daily. Constant barrage of hatred. I go into any news agents and I will see hatred on the fucking newspapers. I go anywhere and I see hatred. Get heckles. Yeah, not as bad as I used to now. But I've even had it that bad that I've been run out of my home twice. The first time round, I had dogs set on me and stuff. Second time round, I actually had masked men break into my home. There's a newspaper article about it. You can go and look it up. Put in my real name along with Sheffield Star, and you'll come across a newspaper article that details like what happened there. But I've been run out of my home twice. I could have been murdered the second time. I'm pretty sure that's what they intended. I'm pretty sure that's what they broke into my house to do. Because, yeah, it's like, I don't feel safe going outside. I don't want to go outside because I don't feel safe. I feel that I'm constantly having to look over my shoulder. Now, people who support trans rights don't have to deal with that. And this is the thing about being an ally, and I've said this in social media like a few times. A trans ally can leave at any time. Me, I'm all in. I'm trans. That's my life. That's who I am. I'm in all the way because I'm trans. A trans ally can always just go, you know what, this is too much for me. I'm out. They have the option of leaving. So we're not asking much of them. We're not asking much of people who claim to be a trans ally. We're just saying, please do not support things that actually go against us. Yeah, it's a simple thing. I'm not saying that if you play play Harry Potter games or support the IP that you are a transphobe. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that you can't be a trans ally. You're either a trans ally or you're not. But not being a trans ally doesn't mean that you're a transphobe. Yeah, it's the whole don't claim to be a thing when you're clearly not. I suppose I need to come out. I could rant a lot more about it. I'm so angry about it. Seriously, like there's things I'm scared about with everything that's going on at the moment. There's things that I'm annoyed about, and things like that. There's some things that I'm angry about. And the thing is with the likes of Brianna and every other trans person that's fucking murdered or attacked or anything like that, I see the knife in the hands of the likes of J.K. Rowling. They are getting in the way of educating people about who trans people are, and they are normalizing hatred. And when you normalize hatred, you introduce this drip feeding, which is exactly what happened to the Jewish people through history, especially during the Third Reich. The drip feeding of hatred, and you're normalizing this level of hatred. And because you've normalized that level of hatred, people aren't so shocked about it there. And then after a while, they get numb to that. And then that's normalized, and so on, and so on, and so on, to the point where you actually pass laws where they're no longer classed as human. And that's what this is. It's the drip feeding of it and slowly dialing it up. And that is what the trans community have been experiencing for the last decade. As things are getting better, suddenly it started going down again. And we're not just seeing it with the LGBT community, with the trans community, we're seeing it with the LGBT community as well. We're looking at now with bills going into Parliament that are practically the same as Section 28. So we're being taken back to the 70s, where even talking about LGBT issues in schools or whatever becomes illegal. Now, what that means, it's not just about making it illegal to teach in sex education or to have books on the subject in the library. It doesn't end there. You have a child that is questioning their sexuality or gender, so they approach their year head or the school counsellor or whatever. That school counsellor or that year head is not allowed to point them to any charity that deals with trans issues. They're not allowed to give them any pamphlets. They're not allowed to give them any information at all, because to do that would violate that law. And that's basically what Section 28 was. And they're basically trying to bring that back in again. So all of these attacks that happen against the trans community, they don't just happen to the trans community. They happen to the entire LGBT community. It's just that we are easy targets because there's so few of us. You don't hear me talk about trans issues and LGBT issues much on my channel. I may have LGBT and transgender and all that in my tags. I don't talk about it often. And it's because I try and actually kind of keep that stuff out of my channel, because one of the things I want people to realize is that we're just people. We're just people. Who gives a fuck that I'm transgender? Who gives a fuck that I'm in a in a same-sex relationship? Who cares? I'm just a person. I don't care about who they're whoever lives next door, I don't care who they're taking to bed. It's none of my business. But I'll support their right to do so. The reason that I have the LGBT tag and the autism tag and the ADHD tag and the goth tag and so on underneath there, the reason I have that is not because my channel is about talking about those things. It's because I want people who also come under those tags and stuff to feel that they're safe in my channel. I want them to be safe, which is why I've turned my ads off. My ads are off because I don't want you to be bombarded with Harry Potter or Wizarding World or whatever. I don't want you to be bombarded with it. So I have those turned off for your sake, not for mine. I'm losing out on ad revenue because I've turned those ads off. So I'm not profiting from it neither. I'm not profiting from the adverts, but technically I'm the one losing out. But I actually have those ads turned off for your sake. And if I could, I would have the pre-rolls turned off as well. But I can either have pre-rolls or run 3 minutes of ad every hour. But I have those ads turned off for your benefit, not for mine. Because I actually give a shit about the people who watch my channel and that. I've missed a whole bunch of as Violet says, neither me or Violet have been harassing people for it. No, I don't agree with. I don't agree with harassing people over the whole thing. That's wrong. That only works against the argument that we're giving. I hope I didn't come across as saying you were. No. I didn't see you as that. Some adults won't get it. No, some don't. Yeah, exactly. Like I just said there, Violet. I will not stream the game. I will not allow that thing on there. I do have obviously something that plays a wonky version of the Harry Potter theme with J.K. Rowling going across the screen, but that is in parody. That's to mock her. It's me trying to get a thing across. Like, there she is. One of the things Violet said to me when they seen that redeem, when I showed it to them, I liked their response to it, is that bitch doesn't deserve a Hitachi. I thought that was hilarious. Get so tired. Yeah, I understand what you mean by getting tired of caring. It can be. It's a lot of work. But as I said, I don't have a choice. It's not a matter of me caring. That's my life. That's my existence. That's my daily routine. Is basically go on social media, see all the hatred, wonder if I'm going to be safe, wondering if I'm going to have to flee the country at some point. That's how bad things look. And then obviously you got the whole thing with Scotland and everything as well, and it just makes me feel even less safe. Every single day I look at social media, I look at the newspapers, and I feel less and less and less safe. And I just see the people that are murdered, and the fact that the newspapers won't even mention that this 16-year-old trans girl, Brianna, was trans. They won't even mention that. And one of the things actually as well, I've got to get this out there as well with the whole thing with Brianna. One of the things that really fucks me off, and this thing I'm absolutely fucking furious about, right? I am absolutely fucking furious about this one, right? Brianna was 16 years old, which means that she was not old enough to apply for a gender recognition certificate. The thing is as well, with applying for a gender recognition certificate, you kind of have to go through all these fucking hoops to get there at the end, which also includes living a certain amount of time in your preferred gender. No, not your preferred gender, your actual fucking gender. You've got to jump through that hoop of living like that. You've got to prove that you are transitioning. You've got to go through all of this bullshit, most of which you cannot do until you're 18 years old. And then, after a panel of people you never even fucking meet and know nothing about you, decide whether or not you can have this stamp on your thing. You get this gender recognition certificate that basically then accepts you for who you are. It has, it changes your gender marker and everything like that. Now, without that, your death certificate will read what your birth certificate does. It doesn't matter whether you have depots and stuff, because a depot doesn't actually change your name. It says this is what I wish to be known as. But your actual name, legally, fully legally, as in like what will appear on your death certificate, is whatever's on your birth certificate. So that poor girl who got stabbed to death over hatred doesn't even get to escape transphobia in death. Her death certificate will read male, and her death certificate will have her dead name on it. So she doesn't even get to escape it in death. And that is what this gender recognition reforms stuff that they've done in Scotland is over. That's all it is. It doesn't say that we get to go and take a shit in a woman's toilet. We've already got that right. What it says is when you die, you can die with dignity. It means you can get married with dignity. It means that that poor girl who got murdered gets to have her identity there on her death certificate. It is fucking disgusting the way that this whole thing is with all that. Anyway, yeah, I went on another little rant there. Yeah, it is a touchy subject. But like I said, people like myself, it hits us personally. It's personal. It's not, it's personal to us. These attacks, these aren't, like I said, these aren't just like attacks on just random people that I can forget about. These are direct attacks on me personally. So if anyone says, "Oh, you're taking it a bit personal, aren't you?" Yes, I fucking am. On that note, we can. It's well, I mean, Twitch ads anyway. You get to see it over and over and over and over. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She doesn't deserve a Hitachi. Like, it was the most recognizable magic wand that I could find. That's why I used that on there. But yeah, the whole point of it is that, in fact, what she says there, inspecto pedendum, is actually, like, as far as I'm aware, inspecto is actually Latin for, well, inspect. And then pedendum is also a Latin origin word, which actually means female genitalia. So what she's actually saying there is inspect women's genitals. There's a lot of points about spirituality and gender. Exactly, yeah. When you look at the whole Native American thing, the whole two-spirit idea. In fact, you go anywhere around the world, you'll always find that, like, gender is a thing. It's, gender's not a modern social construct. It's there in history in multiple cultures around the world. Oh, damn it, dialogue. But no, it's, I've noticed actually quite a few channels, they've avoided the subject as much as possible, and then it's just come up. It's just end up coming up, and then it's like, holding it in for ages, and then it's just, blah, the subject, because some people, like, they need to get it out. They need to get it out, but, like, they're scared to, and then when they do, it just comes out as a torrent.